welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Connie, and today I'm going to walk you through the most used materials for my pastel pencil pet portraits. If you're a pastel artist or you just like pet portraits, don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tutorials. Let's start with some brown fur colours. These would be my go-to Pan Pastels and pet pastel pencils here that I would suggest. So a burnt umber Pan Pastel. This lovely colour here is a burnt sienna tint. Next to that is yellow ochre and a yellow ochre tint. I like to use the pet pastel pencils. So in terms of colours for brown fur, I would then go for a darker brown, which is a number 280. For a dark brown, I then will often choose a 176. Very similar, another brown, dark brown, but slightly different toning is 177. And also a 180, which is more of a yellow ochre colour. So those would be my go-tos for brown. For orangey coloured fur or orange tones, I would add in a 186, the 283, which is the burnt sienna type of colour, a 175, which is a brown grey and goes really well with both brown fur and black grey fur, and is a great sort of colour for adding details. When working with grey or black coloured fur, this would be my suggestion for a good place to start. Again, the Pan Pastels at the back, lovely for base layers, so that's the black. Here's a Payne's Grey, which is a really good colour. Payne's Grey tint, and next to that this one is a neutral grey. So they're a good base kit to get started with. In terms of my pencils that I use, a 181 is good. It's quite a dark grey. A 233 mid grey, that's my black. The 175 again, which also goes well with grey black fur tones, so that's a really handy colour to have. And one of my other go-tos is the 157. I really love this colour. It's an indigo colour, adds a lot of beautiful toning to grey and black fur, so that's a good one. 230 for a lovely light grey. And also in terms of a purpley grey is a Carbothello Stabilo pastel pencil. So this is also quite a good colour for undertones to have in your basic kit. So they're the ones I would suggest for black grey fur. A good place to start for that. In terms of sharpening, I like to actually use a makeup sharpener because they work really well for making a nice sharp point on your pastel pencils. They don't last that long, but I do highly recommend them as a top tip for keeping your pencils sharp. In terms of blending, I will use the soft tool. So this is a sponge and a little sponge applicator that I use for blending out Pan Pastels. They can be just wiped clean on a piece of kitchen towel. So those are what I will use for the base layers. When I've moved on to the Pan Pastel pencil layers, I will blend them out with this particular Staedtler razor. I use the brush end to blend together there. Even though we're working with pastels, I'll still rely on erasers to help for lifting out highlights. So my favourite one to use is just a simple kneadable eraser. It's great because it can be moulded to quite a fine point. which can then be used to gently lift out the highlights in the fur, like this. Or the other thing too is if it's a dark section and then you need to lift out some of that to add some lighter grey pencil or colour in there, that's good for that. And it's also great for cleaning up any edges and keeping the highlights sharp, and also for just keeping the paper clean as you're working. So I hope that was helpful.